So it is October again, and I have no idea where the last year of my life has gone, but I think I feel that way pretty much every October. And I love this time of year. I love spooky season. I love scary movies. I love movies that just have like a sort of spooky theme, but aren't even that scary. And I kind of love the Final Destination movies. There is actually, IMDb says that there's a new Final Destination movie, number 6, shooting in Vancouver, and it's in pre-production. This has been something that's kind of been vaguely on the radar for, I think I remember hearing about it in about 2017-ish. So if that's the case, that's kind of fun. But yeah, I just thought, let's have a look. Since it's October, let's just have a fun little look at all of the Final Destination movies. And there are quite a few. Okay, so as you guys know, we watch a lot of horror movies in my house. And a few years back, it came to light that one of the series I had never seen is this franchise, Final Destination. So I just wanted to share this series with you. Yes, I watched all of them. Final Destination is a series of films that sort of started to be released in the early 2000s. Generally, it involves a teen, usually like a teen played by somebody who looks like they're 35, as all these films kind of are. And they have like a vision or a premonition of a huge accident, which they then manage to avoid while saving some of their friends. But as they've cheated death hunts them down one by one. The deaths are huge, they are elaborate, they're often really gory, and they only get more dramatic and startling as they go on. So as you're watching these films, there are some things to look out for. If you want to play a little Final Destination drinking game or bingo or something, here are some things to look out for that appear in every film. So the central couple, number 1, central couple have a crush on each other. Number 2, an absolute jerk who you can't wait to see die, usually racist or sexist type or something like that. Number 3 is a surprise drive-by sudden death. I'm pretty sure these films originated this kind of like unexpected drive-by death thing. You get a very angry young man who tries to start a fight. Anyone getting cut in half, Tony Todd from Candyman as a mortician, or potentially he is death himself. Someone killing themselves to save someone else, a song that played during the vision that kind of pretends death, references to McKinley, the number 180, the date of the first crash on the Paris flight or the memorial, someone relaying the rules and suggesting that they can survive, tenuous connections to the first film, suggesting that it's all connected, and the words 6 months later towards the end of the film. Okay, so there we go. Are you ready? So, first movie, Final Destination, 2000. All ready for their school trip. A teenage boy, Devon Sawyer? I never figured out how to say his name. Do you guys remember him? He cheats death by having a premonition and getting off the plane to Paris with a small group of his friends. Everyone thinks he's mad until the exact events he saw in his mind take place and the plane goes down. At first relieved to be safe, people are suspicious of this kid and the FBI starts looking into events. Ooh. It soon becomes clear that you can't outwit death that easily, as the survivors start to die one by one in inexplicable accidents. The whole thing is very of its time. I feel like I say that a lot about horror movies lately, but they are kind of a barometer of their time, aren't they? It feels dated now in the best possible way as you're watching it. The clothes, the stars of the movie, like Stifler from American Pie. There's a guy in it from Dawson's Creek, and Ali Larter plays the kind of stock goth character that was a bit of a trope in the 90s. It's actually pretty fun to watch for that reason, and the crazy convoluted deaths hold up pretty well as Devon Sawyer struggles to figure out the rules, if there are any, and to save them all. But there's that point that has to be made. Why was he able to have a vision in the first place if you can't cheat death anyway? My favorite death, that sounds a bit morbid, but let's go with it. My favorite death in these films is the elaborate chain of events in the kitchen. Some of you may know that one. So in 2003, we got Final Destination 2. Same basic plot, but way better deaths. This time, a girl on a road trip with her friends starts to get a bad feeling about it all and has a vision of a huge car pileup. She blocks traffic and saves lives, only to find that what happened to Alex and his friends on Flight 180 in the first movie is now happening to her and the people she managed to save. Ali Larter is still hanging on, though she's chosen to lock herself up in an institution for safety. But can any of them really be saved? Have the rules changed? Maybe? There's a clue that a new life might be able to save an old one, and they figure that if they can find the pregnant woman who was at the accident, they might be able to save themselves. But can they get to her in time? Well, I'm not going to tell you because that would spoil the whole movie. But my favorite death this time in this movie, take the stairs. The elevator is out of order. 2006, Final Destination 3. Have you ever been at the fairground or a theme park and thought that the rides looked a little dodgy and unsafe? And this installment is for you. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she was in 10 Cloverfield Lane, if you're trying to place her, has a bad feeling about things. And she manages to get kicked off the ride with a few others right before it starts slaughtering teens. And then they start getting killed off one by one. The characters are far more kind of comical and stock in this one, if you can imagine that. And this time the characters use photographs taken at the theme park that suggest how each person will be killed. They kind of predict, sort of. I'd say personally, I think this one's much better than the previous one because Winstead makes a great lead and the franchise is really hitting its stride at this point. And the deaths are just ridiculous. They're ridiculous. Favorite death? The moody goth guy is crushed, literally, that his girlfriend is dead. You guys are going to hate me by the end of this for laughing at people dying. I do apologize. I just can't take these films seriously. Okay, the Final Destination. That V is very important. This is 2009. So there's a car that's about to flip over the barriers in this film, and a stadium is about to collapse on everyone. This film starts at a rally driving event, and rather than being numbered, has the dubious V at the start of the title, and it relied on 3D to make things sillier and more gory. And I'm kind of okay with that. This time, Death is more proactive and direct in his killing, and the lead character has extra visions, not just the initial one. For a 3D movie, it actually plays okay as a 2D film, and it has some fun plot developments, but it's, I think, probably like everyone's least favorite entry in the series. It has to get some points for creatively stupid deaths though, and those opening and closing credits are really something. Favorite death here? Tow truck redneck. Maybe it's not the fanciest death, but it's definitely the silliest. So, Final Destination 5, we've gone back to numbering them apparently. So this is 2013. And yeah, kids on a bus trip. They barely escape a bridge collapse this time in which many people die. But by now, we know you really can't cheat death. By this point, people are practically exploding like ketchup-filled balloons as soon as danger even looks at them. And the actors are all people who look like they could have been a contender, but you've never seen them in much else. But, who cares? That opening scene on the bridge is an incredible set piece. Some of you may recognize the bridge. And it kind of is apparently meant to be a bit of a reference to the Mothman prophecies. If any of you are kind of into that stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. And yeah, So maybe this time our young lovers will finally figure out Death's plan and survive? Maybe not. Favorite death? The gymnast, hands down. Possibly my favorite death of the entire series. Like, just yuck. So yeah, that kind of brings us to Final Destination 6. Over the last few years, there've been a lot of rumors circulating about like this troubled sixth installment. Because the internet is a strange place, there are plenty of fake trailers for this movie and things like that. So it's hard to tell what's true, but IMDb, as I mentioned before, does have it listed as in pre-production, and they have a location. So yeah, sort of fingers crossed for that one. So for those of you who are true fans of the franchise, this stomach-lurching compilation of all the deaths should amuse you by Ruben VH on YouTube. I'll put a link to that below. And if you like these films, what is your favorite death? And also, if you're ever on the highway, does anybody else avoid driving behind any logging trucks? Like, as soon as I'm behind one, I think of that scene. Anyway, I hope you guys are planning some fun things for Halloween and some fun things to watch. Let me know if you love these movies and if you've ever sort of played a little drinking game with them or anything like that. And yeah, keep it spooky. Bye. You can check out some of my other videos. I also have another channel and socials, so you can find links below if you want more of that. And if you want to hang out again, remember to like and subscribe. And you can always leave a comment, let me know what you thought, or let me know what else you might want to see. Thank you.